Good afternoon. Got a 2004 Acura RSX in the shop. It's here for some routine maintenance. We're going to be doing a valve adjustment and some spark plugs. So I'm going to take you through that right now. So Honda makes these pretty easy. You got to zip this valve cover off. This car just drove in here, so I'm going to have to put a fan on this valve train and let it cool down for like 20-30 minutes. Because every time you check the clearances, everything needs to be cold. So I'm going to zip this valve cover off right now and get that fan on here. And after it's cool, we'll come back and check all these valves. Well, we were going to do a valve clearance adjustment, but these cams are extremely worn out. That one's worn, number 2 is worn, number 4 is worn. Hang on, let me turn. That's pretty bad. It's on the exhaust cam. It's number 2. Well, not sure why that happened, but we're going to have to replace this cam and then we can do the valve clearance adjustment. It's about a week later and we got all the parts, brand new exhaust cam and exhaust rockers. So I'm gonna pull that valve cover back off and we'll get started once I have everything apart. So I proceeded to take the valve cover off and I turned the crankshaft to TDC, and that's what we're gonna pick up. So just line up those 2 marks like in the previous VTC video. Got these arrows that point up on the VTC gear. What I'm gonna do is zip tie. I'm gonna add some zip ties to this one. I'm gonna mark the chain with white out where it corresponds with this dot. And then we're gonna continue to take all of these cam caps off, remove the cams, and then to get the lower rocker arm assemblies out. So that shot was slightly blocked by that ABS connector, but what I did was I just spun the crank counterclockwise and it takes some pressure off of the tensioner there, and you can slide these pins in, and then I went back clockwise and it locks the tensioner in place. And before I get these off, this is the setup. Got a bungee holding the chain up so it doesn't drop. I put some white out on the chain. This is zip tied. So I unbolted this, so what I'm going to do is just leave this gear in here attached to the chain. I'll actually remove this one with the cam. After setting the cam down, I realized that this bungee was a little loose, so what I did was wrapped it around where I had it at the top and added some tension to it and pulled it back over the chain. It's always tricky when you're trying to maintain the tension here and not let the chain drop down. But got the cams out. Next step is to get this whole little rocker arm assembly out. On this part here, there's two 10s, one there, one there. And I have to remove this bracket, unplug these cam sensors. I think I might actually remove the cam sensors since they stick out so far. We'll see. Okay, so to change these rockers out, there's a shaft that runs through this whole thing. So what I'm going to do is to slide one end, slide this end off. Slide one of these ends off, like that. And I'm going to take this shaft all the way out. And I'm going to insert one at a time as I feed the shaft back through. Here's a look at that old cam. It's pretty crazy. Not too bad. Ouch. I don't know how that happened. But I swapped this over. Need to swap this over for the cam position sensor. And I need to look up the torque for this. And once these are all installed, we're in reassembly. And it's that simple to get those on. Just slid them right on. But I need to clean all the Honda Bond off of here and on the cylinder head. The torque for this is 29 foot-pounds, and the torque for the cam gear bolts is 53 foot-pounds. the Fiat.
Huh?
Fiat.
That's a Prius.
Hmm?
Prius.
What are you talking about, man? It's the Fiat.
Yeah?
Yeah, the Fiat. I think so. Isn't that what they're doing? There it is. That's that. I got everything, all the important stuff torqued. The cam gears torqued and all the cam caps are torqued. I spun the crankshaft around once and we are in time, thank goodness. There's those two matching up. Let's see if I can get a shot of the crank. It's kind of hard. Like a little white mark down there. Let's see, there we go. On the timing cover there's a mark that the white mark lines up with. But all that's left now is I need to adjust these valves because these things come super loose in the factory. I'm going to check all the clearances on the intake. And once it's all back together, fire it up and take it for a test drive. Here I run through a time lapse of doing the valve adjustment. Only one intake was out of spec and obviously all of the exhausts were out of spec. It's kind of hard to teach this over video because it's kind of a feel thing, but you put the feeler gauge in until it's slightly dragging and then you lock down the adjuster. And that's a wrap. Got this all back together. So now it's time to start it. On the side here, I put that cover back on that was covering the tensioner. I cleaned the surfaces and put new Honda on. Obviously, I pulled that pin that I stuck in there earlier before I checked the timing. That's the most important thing on these, is to make sure you check the timing, because the bottom gear can jump teeth and you think you have it on time up top, but then the bottom jumps and you're screwed. And if that does happen, you kind of need to take the cams back out and realign everything. I mean, it can be done. It takes a little bit longer, but I've done it before. It takes some extra time, but it can be done. So anyway, let's start this. It's always the worst part of the job. It's after you do such a big job, it's firing it up for the first time. This could be loud because the cam's drained and they have to fill back up with oil. But let's just send it. Sounds good. All right, another one done. Thanks for watching.